We'd be proud of you. All right. So now we've added a couple things to our discussion here. Before we just talked about horizontal and vertical asymptote domain, now we're going to tack on the x-intercept and the y-intercept. That will conclude the 5 things on the first test, on the 4th test you're responsible for. Okay. Now, horizontal asymptote. What are we looking for? What are we checking?
The degree.
The biggest degree, right? So we're checking the degree on top and the degree on bottom. In this case, both of them are 1. So if they're both 1, the horizontal asymptote becomes what? Y equals. Y. If you don't put Y, I'll put it for you. Okay, don't worry about it. One of us will do it. Okay. Vertical asymptote. You find the vertical asymptote by doing what? Setting the bottom equal to 0. So you take the 2x minus 8, you set that equal to 0, you get 2x equals 8, and x is equal to 4. What is the domain? The domain becomes what? Negative infinity to 4, union 4 to infinity. Again, when you do the domain, it's negative infinity to the first point, that point to the next point, that point to the next point, so forth and so on until you run out. Now, y-intercept. In this case, the y-intercept is going to be a little easier to get than the x-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? Come on.
That's on north or side?
I don't know for sure, but I don't think it's wrong. Christina. How did I do? Give myself a gold star on the gold star chart later on today. All right, Christina. How do you find the y-intercept? It's the same way we have found it our whole life. Look at Christian's answer, right? And Christian know that my answer. How do you find it? Plug in.
X, or 0 for x.
Plug in 0 for x. Right? The y-intercept you have found the same way your whole life. It will always be the same. You plug in 0 for x. So for the, just kidding. For the y-intercept, plug in 0 for x. So what do you get? 3 times 0 plus 6. 2 times 0 minus 8. 6 over negative 8, which is negative 3/4. All right. Now, this is going to be the y-intercept, 0, negative 3/4. Yeah. Now, what's the x-intercept going to be? What's the x-intercept going to be? The x-intercept is going to be negative 2. Who said it? How do you know that?
Set the top equal to 0.
And why is that? Why do we set the top equal to 0?
I do not know.
Well, how do you know that?
Well, if you set y equal to 0, you end up multiplying the y by the 0 by the 2 by the bottom. And then
So if we plug in y as 0, and we have 2 numbers that divide to give me 0, the top number's got to be the one that makes it 0, not the bottom number. Right? If 2 numbers divide to give me 0, if you have a divided by b and you get 0, it's got to be a. It can't be b, because if it was b, it'd be undefined. That's a vertical asymptote. Okay, so it's got to be a. So how do you find the x-intercept? You take the top piece and you set it equal to 0. And you get negative 2, 0. Any questions on that? Any questions on that? All right, let's try another one. You're going to love this. This is going to be so great. I mean, I should put up a collection jar just in case you want to give me a tip on the way out. Wait till you see this. X squared plus 7x plus 10 over, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, 4x squared minus 9. This is great. This is fantastic stuff right here. Okay? On the 11th day, God created this. Okay? Then he rested for 3 days. It was so great. We're going to go horizontal asymptote, vertical asymptote, x-intercept, y-intercept, domain. Go. All right.
Yeah.
Kobe. You figured that? How did you? Keep throwing stuff at me. What's your name, hon? Catherine. Catherine. Originally, I was going to call on Ellie for this, but I think you and I both know that it's better to call on you right now. Because Ellie is like a superstar, and she likes to be treated like a superstar, you know? So she wants to do the next one. She's like, just challenge me on the next one, please. Don't give me this kind of easy stuff. That's what Ellie said. Right, Ellie?
Yes.
Wow. Most people are like, heck no, I didn't say that, no crap, leave me alone. Ellie's like, sure, whatever you say, drier. Live in your own world anyway. Catherine, let's let you have this moment. Now, we are live streaming, so I'm not going to ask you to go up to the board, because that would be kind of not very nice of me. But if you could just give me your answers, tell me how you found it.
Okay.
Go ahead, what'd you get?
For the horizontal, I got y equals 1/4.
How'd you find that?
It's just the coefficients since the degrees are equal.
Okay, so the coefficients of the, what did you say?
The degrees are equal, so it's just the coefficients.
The degrees are equal, so it's just the coefficients. I love that response. Degrees are equal, it's just the coefficients. So it's 1/4, so the horizontal asymptote is y equals 1/4. What's the vertical asymptote?
I got x is 3/2. Because I set the bottom equal to 0.
Okay, so you set the bottom equal to 0. Now I'm a very afraid that you might have moved the 9 over, divided by 4, and took the square root. Is there any chance you did that? After all we've been through. Cannot do that. I trusted you. What should you do instead of adding the 9 and dividing by 4 and then taking the square root?
You factor.
You got to factor it. Now, Catherine, let me tell you what happens, right? Because I mean, it's not fair for me to just go like this. You can't do it. Why? Because I said so. Parental rules number 101. Dad said so. Why can't you do that? If you take the square root of both sides, and there's actually nothing wrong with that. Totally legal to do it. If you do that, though, you got to put plus or minus. See, recall that if x squared is equal to 25, x can be either 5 or negative 5. So if you take the square root of both sides, Catherine, and you can totally do it, just make sure you put a plus or minus attached to it, okay? And then you're fine. Otherwise, just factor 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3, and that gives you x equals negative 3/2 and positive 3/2. Okay. Now, what about the x-intercept? What about the x-intercept? Let's go x-intercept. Let's go LETS, GO. Let's go Corey. You know what your name?
Tyler?
Or Tyler. I mean, Corey and Tyler mean the same thing in Lion King. You know that guy named Corey?
What?
In Lion King, the guy named Corey. You remember that guy? That's because his name was Tyler. All right. X-intercept, go.
2 and 5.
X equals -5. X equals -2.
How about negative 2 and negative 5, dude? How about when we factor, we get x plus 2, x plus 5 is equal to 0, and we get x plus 2 is equal to 0, and x plus 5 is equal to 0. X equals -2 and -5. Did you factor or use the quadratic formula?
Factor.
Okay. Make sure you set equal to 0, though. Because a lot of people just factor and just write in the two numbers that they see. Okay? Not quite. So x-intercepts are -5 and -2, bless you.
Thank you.
How about the y-intercept? Hey, Jen,
Is it?
in Poland, they do y-intercepts?
Yes.
Okay, good. What'd you get?
-10/9.
-10/9. Plug in x is 0, 0, 0, 0. You're left with 10, -9. Y-intercept is 0, -10 ninths. The domain. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, so you don't have to put the x-intercept in parentheses?
Oh, do you have to put the x-intercepts in ordered pair form? You certainly can, Camille. And it's totally okay if you do, and it's totally okay if you don't. I'm not going to mark it wrong either way. All right? My colleagues, they might, but I won't. I love you more than that. Yes?
Question. On the example over there for the vertical asymptote, you put it in like the union form. Do we have to do that with this one? Where it's
Wait. I put it where?
like under that where it's like negative infinity A union A B. Do we have to do that to the
Okay, just for the record, this is the domain that I'm pulling off of the vertical asymptote.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually not writing the vertical asymptote as a union. I'm writing the domain as a union.
Okay.
And that brings us to the domain. And what are you going to put? Catherine, go ahead and finish it up.
Okay. -infinity to 3, -3/2.
-infinity to -3/2.
Yes, union -3/2 to 3/2.
Nice.
Union 3/2 to infinity.
Excellent. Yes.
Going back to the vertical asymptote, so I can solve it like that, but you prefer factoring?
No, I actually don't care.
Okay.
I just don't want you to square root both sides and not put plus or minus. That's the number one mistake that people make. It's on the final exam too, by the way. They give you a question that on the surface seems really easy. Okay? On the surface it seems really easy. And it looks like this. I don't know whether it's on all the final exams or just the one I saw at one point in my life, but very common test questions, they look like this. They give you something like x plus 3 squared equals 16, right? And when they give you the choices, they give you the choice 1 by itself. And that's almost always answer A. Because we know that you're going to snap out 1 as the answer, and when you get it, you're going to be like, yeah, happy dance. And then down here at the end, you'll see something like this, -7, 1. And my response to everybody is always the same. Like, if it's multiple choice, and you have your answer, and then you look down the list, and you see your answer paired with another number, you better have a damn good reason why you're not choosing that one. Does that make sense? Like, we wouldn't just be like, hey, solve 2x plus 3 equals 7, x equals 2, and then write the answer like 2, -4. Like, we wouldn't do that. That makes no sense. Like, why the heck would you put another number for a problem that doesn't have 2 answers? Does that make sense? So the bottom line is if you get your answer, and then your answer is paired with an answer for another answer, you better have a good reason why you're not choosing it. And it cannot be, oh, I didn't know you could get another answer. Like that cannot be the reason why you don't put it. Okay, and I would say in that case, if you don't know, you probably ought to put it because it's probably right. Okay? Not always, but it probably is. Okay? And so you totally can do what you said, take the square root of both sides the way it is. You just got to put the plus or minus. And I personally don't care one way or the other how you do it. That sounds terrible, but just get the right answer. Okay? All right. Any questions? Any questions? Going once? Questions going twice? let's finish off with this one last problem. Let's finish off with one last problem. Okay, and it's going to be one that you haven't seen before, so don't yell and complain. You can complain, just don't yell. Y equals x minus 7 over x squared plus 5x minus 14. Okay. So we're looking at now, how is this problem different than all the other ones? Well, what's the first thing you observe?
The top degree, or the degrees aren't the same.
The first thing you should probably observe is the degree on top and the degree on bottom are now not the same. And you see, up to this moment, they've always been identical. So what happens if the degree on top is not the degree on bottom? If the one on top is less than the one on bottom, then you just write the same answer every single time. It is always y equals 0. If the degree on top is less than the degree on bottom, and I don't care how much less, right? I mean, is it 1 less? Is it 5 less? Is it 7 less? That's just splitting hairs. I don't care. If the one on top is less than the one on bottom, it is y equals 0 every single time. You should smile when you see that, because all you got to put is y equals 0. You don't have to do any work. You don't have to think about it. Top smaller than bottom, y equals 0 is the answer. Okay? People will say, what happens if the top is bigger than the bottom? Well, then there isn't a y. There's no horizontal asymptote at that point. Okay? That problem's not very much fun to look at. All right? But even though they're different and the one on bottom is bigger, we can still ask the same questions. What's the vertical asymptote? What's the x-intercept? What's the y-intercept? And what is the domain? Go. Alright. Let's go straight to the big finish. Yeah, what was your name again? Nick. We got the top four answers on the board here. Can you fill them in for me? Because I'm gonna tell you, this is kind of like eating a big steak. Don't start it unless you eat it. You know what I'm saying? Like don't eat a third of it and then be like, you know what? I think I'm full now. No, I need you to commit, and I need you to go through the pain. All right, commit. All right.
You want me to go up there or just say it?
Well, if you go up there, you're gonna be live on YouTube.
Okay, I'll just say it. For vertical, that's how I got x equals -7 and -2.
All right, how did you get that?
Uh,
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to know what you did.
I factored the bottom.
Okay, so we factored the bottom to x plus 7, x minus 2. And then what do we get?
Oh, I meant positive. I don't know why I said -2. I got positive 2. Yeah, I got x equals -7 and x equals 2.
So x equals -7 and x equals 2. And by the way, if you just wrote that as x equals and then you said -2 comma 7, totally going to give you credit for that. Okay? So right, I'm going to give you double credit. You're going to get credit twice. Okay? X-intercept. X-intercept.
I got x equals 7.
X equals 7 is the x-intercept. How do you find that?
I set the top equal to 0.
We're setting this equal to 0. The x-intercept, we're setting x minus 7 equal to 0. That's the top part. That gives me x equals 7. Sorry to bore you. All right. Y-intercept.
I got 1/2.
Nice. To get the y-intercept, you're plugging in 0. Perfect. Y-intercept is 0, 1/2. Nick, now this next answer, I don't want to put like too much pressure on you, but this next answer is worth 865,427 points. That will be used the very next time you play tic-tac-toe.
Oh, you want me to say it? I
Yeah,
got
that's kind of the point, Nick.
I got -infinity to -7 union -7 to +2 union +2 to infinity.
Is that what you got, baby?
Yes.
That is the correct answer. -infinity to -7. -7 to 2. Union 2 to infinity. I don't know if all of y'all are getting the domain right, but if you are, props to you. Definitely a sign of the smart student, not the instructor. Because the domain kicks everybody's butt on this stuff. Like, for whatever reason, it kicks everybody's butt. So if you're getting the domain right consistently, great job to you. Excellent work. All right, just a reminder, no donuts and questions on Friday. No pizza and problems today. You all have a great weekend. I will see you back here on Monday. And we will continue this conversation. Plus, look at how to solve some equations. You're not going to want to miss that. We'll do that much, much more. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Y'all have a blessed day.